Well, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
When you have nothing meaningful to contribute, you just ramble on endlessly, a never-ending stream of words. That's exactly what happens on The View. But let's be real, the voters aren't backing the loud, out-of-touch women on that show. They're completely disconnected from the vast majority of Americans, living in their own little bubble where their opinions are the only ones that matter. For years, Whoopi Goldberg has ruled over The View like royalty. She cuts off guests, bulldozes over opposing views, and presents her opinions as if they're undeniable truths. But in one jaw-dropping moment, her tight grip on daytime TV came crashing down. And it was all thanks to Karoline Leavitt. Nobody saw it coming. The episode started like any other. Smug laughs, exaggerated eye rolls, and a panel of co-hosts nodding along, perfectly synchronized with The View's left-leaning agenda. Whoopi, as self-assured as ever, sat back, ready to dominate yet another conversation. Then
she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Then, the topic of wokeness came up, a term the show practically worships, a concept they defend as if it's their lifeline. Because let's be honest, it kind of is. Feeling untouchable, Whoopi decided to take the first shot. A smirk spread across her face as she pointed at Karoline and said, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job." Boom. The entire vibe in the room changed in an instant. The audience tensed up. Even Joy Behar, who has built her entire career on mocking conservatives, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Whoopi's comment wasn't just dismissive. It was meant to belittle. It wasn't an argument. It was an attempt to discredit everything Karoline had worked for. And yet, despite the insult, the audience clapped.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good.
Almost like they were on autopilot. Some even chuckled. But there was an unease in the air. A tension that suggested they knew Whoopi had crossed a line, even if they weren't sure they could acknowledge it. Karoline, however, didn't flinch. She didn't scramble for a comeback or try to defend herself. No, she did something far more powerful. She smiled.
In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you know who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, it's all, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably biased and they're prejudiced.
A slow, knowing smile that made it clear Whoopi had just made a huge mistake. It wasn't arrogance. It wasn't overconfidence. It was the look of someone who had the facts, the composure, and the intelligence to completely flip the situation. And that's exactly what she did. She didn't waste time with personal jabs or emotional arguments. Instead, she hit back with cold, hard facts, government spending reports, taxpayer-funded woke programs, and absurd initiatives that no one in their right mind could defend. Gender studies in Guatemala? A Sesame Street adaptation designed to push American social activism overseas? Millions of dollars funneled into projects that raised more questions than answers? Karoline laid it all out with surgical precision, connecting the dots to show how wokeness had been weaponized, not just as a social movement, but as a political tool used to silence, control, and punish anyone who dared to challenge it. And suddenly, Whoopi wasn't laughing anymore. This was a woman who had spent decades dominating conversations, steamrolling over conservative voices, and shutting down discussions before they could even begin. But now she was on the defensive. She shifted in her seat, her usual smirk gone and her hands fidgeting as if searching for something, anything to hold on to. She opened her mouth, then closed it, opened it again. Still nothing. The audience, usually so quick to cheer her on, sat frozen in an awkward silence. Even the most loyal View fans didn't know how to react. The energy in the room had shifted, and for once, Whoopi was at a complete loss for words. Even the camera crew hesitated. Should they zoom in on her stunned face or cut to commercial and hope viewers...
...most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
...wouldn't notice. But everyone did notice. And Karoline wasn't done yet. If wokeness is truly about diversity and inclusion, she asked, her voice calm and steady, then why is it that conservative women are the ones being attacked? Why is it that those who claim to preach tolerance turn vicious the moment they're confronted with someone who doesn't fall in line? Whoopi had no response, no sharp retort, no witty remark. The silence stretched on, growing heavier with each passing second. In a desperate attempt to recover, Joy Behar tried to crack a joke, a weak, nervous attempt to break the tension, but it was too late. The damage had been done.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS, quite.
For the first time in years, Whoopi Goldberg had completely unraveled on live television. And the internet? Oh, the internet went wild. Memes, reaction clips, endless commentary. Within minutes, Whoopi's stunned expression was everywhere. But here's the real kicker. This wasn't the first time her mouth had gotten her into trouble. Over the years, The View has become a lawsuit magnet, dragging ABC from one controversy to the next, from tone-deaf comments about the Holocaust to bizarre defenses of questionable figures. Whoopi has been at the center of some of the show's biggest scandals. But nothing hit ABC harder than the recent wave of defamation lawsuits. First, it was Carrie Underwood, then Elon Musk, and now Karoline Leavitt. Each lawsuit piling up, making it harder and harder for ABC to ignore the damage. And let's talk about Carrie Underwood for a second. When she performed at Trump's second inauguration, Whoopi and her co-hosts tore her apart. They didn't just criticize her performance, they launched an all-out character assassination, claiming she had destroyed her career, aligning herself with hate, and turning herself into a pariah. But Carrie didn't just sit back and take it. She fought back in a way The View never saw coming. She filed a $1 billion defamation lawsuit against ABC, specifically targeting Whoopi Goldberg and the other co-hosts who had trashed her name on national television. It wasn't just about protecting her reputation, it was about exposing the lies and holding the network accountable for the damage they had done. At first, The View brushed it off. They assumed Carrie, like so many others before her, would back down or settle quietly behind the scenes. But they severely underestimated her. Carrie wasn't just any celebrity. She was a powerhouse in the music industry, with millions of devoted fans and the resources to take this fight all the way. She refused to be bullied, and she refused to let The View get away with their smear campaign. And when that case finally made it to court, something huge came to light: leaked emails. Between ABC executives revealed that the attack on Carrie wasn't just an off-the-cuff rant by Whoopi and her co-hosts, it was a calculated strategy. ABC had orchestrated the entire smear campaign to boost ratings, create controversy, and keep The View trending. They wanted outrage. They needed outrage. And they were willing to destroy reputations to get it. The emails detailed conversations between producers and network executives discussing how to frame Carrie as a problematic figure. They talked about how associating she with former President Trump's inauguration would be the perfect angle to stir up backlash. It wasn't about the truth. It was about manufacturing a narrative that would get clicks, views, and engagement, even if it meant lying. When the truth came out, the industry was shaken. ABC executives scrambled for damage control, but it was too late. The backlash was immediate. The network's credibility took a massive hit, and the lawsuit became a media circus. Viewers who had blindly trusted The View for years began to question just how many other narratives had been manipulated for ratings. Even loyal fans started to turn on the show, realizing that the people they had been cheering for weren't just opinionated talk show hosts. They were manufacturers of controversy, profiting off of deception. With the overwhelming evidence against them, ABC had no choice but to settle. The details of the settlement were kept under wraps, but insiders confirmed that Carrie walked away with an undisclosed but massive amount. The network hoped that quietly paying her off would make the controversy disappear. But just when they thought the storm had passed, another powerful figure entered the picture: Elon Musk. For months, Whoopi and her co-hosts had used the...
You know, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Right.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say.
As a platform to launch relentless attacks on Musk, portraying him as a dangerous, unhinged billionaire. They spread false claims about his leadership at Twitter, accusing him of enabling extremism, destroying free speech, and even fostering a toxic work environment. They painted him as a villain, ignoring any facts that contradicted their narrative. But Musk wasn't the type to let things slide. He saw what they were doing. He saw how they had no problem twisting the truth to fit their agenda. And just like Carrie, he wasn't going to let it go unanswered. He filed his own defamation lawsuit against ABC, targeting The View for deliberately spreading misinformation about him. And with Musk's resources and influence, it became the lawsuit of the decade.